Hi again everyone, Scott Player Popcorn Fan here, and in this video, it is time to finally do my Season 1 review of The Last of Us. The season finale just aired last night, and as expected, I saw how accurate it was to the ending of the first game. It was very accurate. It was almost shot for shot in a way, but with some added context as well for the two lead characters. Some like added scenes that were in the beginning of the episode that definitely helped, I think, with the finale, and it all worked. From beginning to end, this show has surprised me by adding new scenes, but also respecting the material and just adapting it too. So yeah, in a way, you can argue that there's a lot of scenes in this show that are literally cut and paste from the game, but at the same time also expanding on certain aspects within the story of The Last of Us to these characters, and I loved that. This show, I think, it's something that the creative team behind it wanted to make for people that have not played the game, because like for me example, I don't have a PlayStation. I've never played the game myself, but I've watched it countless times on YouTube, and no one in my family has played the game either. And I've been watching the show with my family week to week, and they've been floored with the show as well. And it's just so fascinating what they were able to do with this series. Craig Mazin, the showrunner, as well as Neil Druckmann, the original creator of the game, it was a collaboration that worked together, and what they did was just so satisfying. And from the cast and crew, like everyone in this show has been amazing in their roles. Everyone. Pedro Pascal, easily one of my favorite actors right now, next to Andy Serkis, but also Bella Ramsey. She was amazing as Ellie, and in the finale, it was really cool because they had Ashley Johnson, who voiced Ellie in the game, play Ellie's mom in a flashback scene, which was really cool, kind of poetic, and it was a great scene too because we got to see Ashley Johnson in live action, and what they were doing in the flashback for the story sort of hinted at the of what might be the source of Ellie's immunity, and I thought that was rather fascinating. It worked, and then also once it jumps back to present day, there's this scene with Joel, and he is sort of telling Ellie about how he almost killed himself before he met Ellie after what happened with his daughter Sarah, and he tried to off himself, but sort of missed, and which created a bit of a scar on his face. And yeah, spoilers. Sorry guys, but I can't talk about this show without giving spoilers. And also from that point on, it was basically a shot-for-shot episode of the ending of the game, and it was so good, so well done, despite that, and it was just so good. And also throughout the season, you care about these characters so much, you care about Joel's arc throughout the season, as he is just so bitter at the beginning of the season, and then he meets Ellie, and their journey together, and he gets his emotional state of mind sort of recovers from everything that has happened before as he's with Ellie, and Ellie is sort of the light at the end of the tunnel for him, and he's not, at the same time, he's not a good person. So he makes decisions that aren't necessarily the best decisions, He makes terrible decisions, but is thinking about Ellie. He wants to save Ellie, and in the ending, he basically says he gives the middle finger to humanity because Marlene, she and her group, the Fireflies, they find Joel and Ellie. They take Ellie, and she's being prepped for surgery, so that they can develop a vaccine for the cordyceps fungus. And once Joel finds out that she's in surgery, she's like, "Oh no, I don't want to lose another daughter," and he can't because he finally has a reason to fight and live again, and it's just so impactful. And this choice, it can be debated for a long time, and it has been ever since the game first came out back in 2013. The morality and the complexity of what Joel does between, should I save Ellie or should I save humanity? And oh man, it's such a complex question, and it will still be debated for a long time. What Joel does is, can be seen as something, something that's very, very hard to decide. It's a very hard decision to make for anyone. And I mean, I'm not a parent, so, but if I was a parent, I'd probably make the same decision. I'd probably make the same decision as Joel. I'd save Ellie too. I think a lot of people would. But, at the cost of humanity. And then, what Joel does sort of, spoilers for the second game, sort of catapults his fate in the second game, where Joel dies very early on in the second game. And I don't know how they'll adapt that for the show, but I wouldn't want him to die so early on in season 2, which is why, when a while back when I mentioned that they should sort of use the second game as the end game of the show, still take time between Joel and Ellie for multiple seasons to come, and then have the second game be sort of the end game of the show. I feel like that's the way they should handle it. That's what I think they should do. I mean, I don't know what they will do. I mean, they can adapt the second game for seasons 2 and 3, and it can still work, and they can make changes similar to how they made changes in this first season for the first game that worked as well. I mean, they can do it, and I'm sure they can try and figure it out. But at the same time, I feel like we should spend more time with Joel as the seasons continue. That's what I think they should do. And, oh man, this has just been such an amazing ride. It really has been. And from the production to the sets, oh my god. I watched like a documentary of the making of this show, and they did a lot of prosthetics, surprisingly. I mean, yeah, they had to do visual effects, of course. They had to for like certain things, but they tried to do as many prosthetics as they could, and a lot of real locations, and I'm really happy about that too. Like the level of care and effort put into the making of this show was so incredible. They really just put their heart into it, the cast and the crew, to make this show as best as it could be, and it's amazing. And I don't have any flaws with it, really. I mean, there are a few things I can nitpick about, like in the beginning of the finale, I feel like there should have been more, more blood, because Ellie's mom was giving birth to her, which I would expect there to be, I would expect there to be blood to come out, but there wasn't. That's just a bit of a nitpick, but I feel like, if you're giving birth to a baby, I would imagine there would be blood coming out too. So that's just my one little nitpick about the finale. And then, you know, throughout the season, there are moments where I feel like they could do a little bit with a little bit more action, if you know what I mean. Because the video game did a really good job balancing between drama and action. And this show, even though I think this is an amazing show, I mean, there are moments, especially in the finale, where they could have done with a little bit more action, I guess. That's my only other thing about this that I feel like they could have done a little bit more of, having action and just more action and balancing it a little bit more with the drama. That's the only thing. But other than that, this is such an amazing show, and I love it. So yeah, my grade for The Last of Us Season 1 is an A. I love this show. It is definitely worth watching for anyone. For those of you that are parents, this show will hit hard for you, and it's worth it. It's, even though it's a bit of a sad ending, it's very satisfying because you care so much about these characters, and it's something that will be hailed as one of the best video game adaptations of all time. And I definitely think that it's one of the best video game adaptations of all time, that I'm sure will be seen by other film companies and other, you know, directors, and that will, you know, help influence them to make better products for video game adaptations going forward. And that's something that's really exciting. And I love this show. I really do. It's easily something that has been quite the ride for me, even though there are, you know, because this is a video game adaptation, there are a lot of moments that are cut and paste. I will say that. I mean, it's not a flaw, at least not to me, but I mean, other people might think of it as a flaw. But if it's not broke, don't fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's a common saying, and it's very true here. But what they do sort of enhances the story when they do add new context and new additional scenes, providing more character growth for characters that you care about so much, and that's awesome. And then yeah, that's really everything that I want to talk about in this video. And yeah, I know I did give spoilers. I will probably, you know, give a bit of a spoiler warning in the title of the video. So yeah, amazing show, definitely worth it. And all right, I've rambled on so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.